All right. Now, moving forward, amidst the ongoing tensions between Canada and India, US State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller has spoken on the Indian Inquiry Committee meeting with the US officials regarding an alleged foiled assassination plot of Khalistani terrorist Pannoon. He has said that the meeting has been productive. He has also said that they are satisfied with the cooperation shown. The statement comes after Canadian Prime Minister has accepted of no hard proof but only intel. Let's now listen in this.
The meeting that occurred yesterday, we being the U.S. government broadly, updated members of the Committee of Inquiry about the investigation that the United States has been conducting. We've received an update from them on the investigation that they have been conducting. It was a productive meeting, and I will leave it at that. Sure. So the meeting that occurred yesterday,
All right, viewers. Now, my colleague Brian Thomas, in fact, joins me on the broadcast. Brian, as we also discuss about the ramifications of what the comments by the Trudeau government have surfaced, now the US has responded on the Indian Inquiry Committee, saying it was a productive meet on the foiled attack for the attack on Pannoon, and India-Canada tensions as keep on escalating. In fact, this is the latest that we are tracking. USA is taking Canada's stand seriously and responding to the Inquiry Committee, saying it was a productive meeting. What is the latest that you're tracking and bringing the details over?
Spokesperson Matthew Miller has described the recent meeting between the Indian Inquiry Committee and the US officials as productive. He also revealed that the Indian government has informed them that the individual named in the Justice Department's indictment is no longer an employee of the Indian government. He also expressed satisfaction with the level of cooperation between both countries, emphasizing that the process is ongoing. He says that they continue to work with them on that, and Matthew Miller does appreciate the cooperation and appreciate the them updating US on their investigation as even US updates India as well. And even he also says that the discussion pertained to an alleged foiled assassination plot targeting Khalistani terrorist Gurpratap Singh Pannu also in the US. Simran.
All right, Brian, thank you for sharing the latest that in fact you are bringing in at this point of time. Now, joining me, viewers, on the broadcast is my guest Sanjeev Srivastava, on the broadcast, international affairs expert as well. Thank you for speaking to us today, sir, and giving us your time. You know, it is in fact a new day for the relations of India and Canada to even worsen, where right now, just in the latest escalation, what we have heard are a complete admission by the Trudeau government and Trudeau himself, saying that there was no hard proof in the form of an evidence, rather only intel that the Indian government had provided, which in the attacks they have contradicted. What exactly is your understanding of how the Canadian government is now going over? That being one part, is also of very important understanding of how the links with China to even have conceded his own actions and relations with the Chinese government is now exposed. Mr. Srivastava.
First of all, a very good morning to you. Good morning to all the viewers. Canada has dealt with this entire issue. What they raised is in a very inappropriate manner. They, showed all sorts of weaknesses and all sorts of weak understanding about their diplomatic practices, and that is not the way democracies are supposed to work. If you look at the United States of America and the way we are conducting this inquiry, the matter, the concern which were raised by United States of America were raised in a very proper way, in a very, very proper setting. When two officials, delegations were meeting, in those meetings, United States of America raised their concern. And when it was raised in a very proper way, India responded as being a responsible, law-abiding country, and having a very strong democratic credentials, that we immediately say that we will look into this matter and we will look at it in this matter seriously. And immediately after that, an inquiry committee was formed in last November, and the investigations are going on. And when you see what kind of satisfaction and all sorts of goodwill is very much prevailing on the U.S. side, despite the fact that that matter is being investigated, inquiry is going on, and the United States of America is satisfied, and they are also sharing their updation, their information with us. We are also sharing our information, and that is how democracies are supposed to work. But if you look into the Canadian side and Canadian case, instead of raising up this matter with India in a proper way, and obviously when Mr. Trudeau is saying that he didn't have any hard proof, then also again they made a blunder that without having any substantial proof, he came up, and not only came up, but he went to the Canadian Parliament. And from there, he announced and made baseless allegations against India. And that was the most, as I said, most inappropriate way of dealing with any a matter of concern between the two democracies. That is not done. That is not democracies. That is not how democratic countries work. So I think Canada made a lot of big blunders, and that is why you are saying that India-Canada relationship has come down to a very, very deep and low level of concern. And this relationship, which is a very vast relationship, which is based on our shared democratic values, interests, opportunities, challenges, is being harmed by such kind of inappropriate actions by Trudeau administration. So I think Trudeau administration must realize, they must look into the way we are cooperating with India, the way India-US authorities and administrations are going about certain concerns and certain issues. So precisely, Canada could also follow the same example, and they should come up any kind of a concern which they are having in a very proper way. They should not go to the rooftop and start shouting without having any kind of any kind of a proof, as he has admitted himself that he didn't have any kind of hard proof, just a little intelligence, unsubstantiated intelligence, and based on which you have decided to put India-Canada relationship in a harm's way. So I think that is a very sad part of India-Canada relationship, I must say. And Trudeau administration has dealt with this entire issue in a very, very immature way. And but I must admit that in my assessment, real reason why Trudeau chose to go to the Canadian Parliament instead of coming to our official meeting, precisely to gain some political points in Canadian politics. Because he wanted to highlight this issue, wanted to make it a big issue, so that he could appease Jagmeet Singh and his New Democratic Party and pro-Khalistani terrorist extremist elements in Canadian society and politics, and through which he wanted to get their support, because we know that Trudeau government is a minority government, and they are continuing their business in office with the support of some other parties. New Democratic Party had been supporting them, though they have also withdrawn their support. But when it comes to any kind of a no confidence motion, etc., still New Democratic Party is there with them. So I think he wanted to continue getting their support, and in that process, he was appeasing this pro-Khalistani element. But let me just say here that Mr. Trudeau administration has decided to put India-Canada relationship in harm's way for the sake of their narrow political gains, and that is not good for his own image. That is not good for Canada, because it is matter related to Canada's national security. It is obviously and also the kind of resolve India is having, the kind of resolve international community is having to fight against terrorism. That resolve gets weakened with this kind of approach when the responsible nations like Canada show to the international community. And so I think, that if you give shelter, if you give support, if you defend this kind of a terrorist and extremist element for your own political gains, then you harm your own national security. We have seen in 1985,
All
Khalistani
right.
bombing happened. And this Kaniska bombing happened because of the kind of support and appeasement the Pierre Trudeau administration are doing at that time. So I think Canada should learn some lessons, and they should amend their ways. and
Sanjeev
that is helpful.
Srivastava, international affairs expert. In fact, now breaking it down for the benefit of our viewers who are watching us closely about decoding what this entire escalation between the India-Canada ties in fact mean and putting it in perspective. Now viewers, moving on to another important developments that we are tracking very closely. The Congress at one hand, where